Every morning when I wake in this ancient land, a foreboding sense of doom creeps into my soul. This is the Olympic Dam uranium mine in South Australia. Beneath that red desert soil below lies the largest known deposit of uranium in the world. A bonanza worth billions of dollars for the mining company BHP Billiton, and a looming health and environmental disaster for the rest of us forever.
It's like Pandora's box, you know. Once you open it, it's out there. It can't be put back in the box.
350 metres below the surface, a solid granite core keeps the radioactive ore from getting to us. It's safely cocooned there in nature with millions of tonnes of soil, rock and vegetation above the granite cone. BHP Billiton wants the go-ahead from government to dig up the red topsoil, to dig it up night and day for 4 years and then break the granite cone of protection so they can get at the valuable minerals that lie below.
Well, BHP Billiton have a clear plan to make Roxby Downs the largest uranium mine in the world. It's going to cause a major radioactive scar in outback South Australia. They're going to have a massive open pit mine, one of the largest in the world. It'll be some 3 kilometres wide.
That's a whopping great hole. So 4 billion tonnes of ore, 40 million tonnes a year. They're still looking at a 100-year life after they finish the expansion. So it's a big deposit. There are exceedingly few deposits in the world that can boast those sort of statistics for Olympic Dam.
That volume of radioactive tailings is the equivalent to filling the Melbourne cricket ground twice a week to the height of the goalpost, every week for the next 100 years.
Those tailings contain most of the original radioactivity that was associated with the uranium.
Radioactive uranium, radioactive thorium, radioactive polonium, radium, bismuth and radioactive lead, just dumped there at the surface of the mine. Whereas before the radioactive minerals were inert, buried in rock deep below the earth, they're now being crushed into fine dust particles. Just dumped on the surface of the earth at Olympic Dam, covering thousands of square hectares. Mountains of radioactive waste.
Tailings are the fine particles that are left at the end of any mining process, and with regards to uranium mining, they contain around 80% of the radioactivity of the original ore body.
Radioactive tailings dust, ready to blow in the wind and weep into our water and travel far beyond the mine site. Radioactive for millions of years, a pox on our children forever. The red dust of Central Australia regularly turns up on the snowy mountain slopes of faraway New Zealand. As the crow flies, it's a mere skip and a jump of 500 kilometres to downtown Adelaide. As the wind blows from Olympic Dam, it's only 1,300 kilometres to Sydney, 1,000 kilometres to Melbourne. And then there's the radon gas. When they mine uranium, it releases radon gas. Radon gas is very deadly and carcinogenic.
It's a very heavy gas. It's about 7 times heavier than air, so it stays near the earth. It's an invisible gas with no odor, so people don't know they're being exposed to it. And again, you breathe in the gas, then the solid particles, the lead, bismuth, and polonium, are deposited in the lungs and go through to the bloodstream and cause internal problems in the body and can cause birth defects and teratogenic damage to a child in utero, so they don't develop properly.
Long after the company executives have made their big profits and gone, long after the politicians have collected their superannuation and moved on, that radioactivity will be leaking into our environment. Scientists in Europe and North America are now discovering it doesn't take much internal radiation exposure to break the double strand of the DNA, which leads to cancer and birth defects. cancers that can be triggered at far lower levels of radiation exposure than what our health authorities have believed till now is a safe level of radiation.
Last year, the National Academy of Sciences in the US published their Biological Effects of Ionizing Radiation report. And this is a report that's published every 5 or 10 years by this agency. The take-home message from the report was that there is no safe threshold of ionizing radiation below which the risk of cancer is not present.
Both the radioactive tailings dust and radon gas contain alpha radiation. It's the alpha radiation which plays havoc with the DNA once it's breathed into the body or ingested through our food or our water. But the cancers won't show their face for another 5 to 20, maybe even as long as 50 years. Sleeper cells, lying there doing their deadly work over time.
You can say it's out of sight, out of mind, but biologically this whole planet is a recycling planet. That's the way it works. And the trouble is we're putting poison into the recycler, so future generations will have a harder time living on the earth than we did. So we're not only hurting their health, corrupting the gene pool, but we're giving them more hazardous environment with which to cope, and they're going to reach a point of no return.
All that glitters is not gold. We elect our politicians trusting them to make informed decisions. Decisions that will impact vitally on the future well-being of ourselves and our children. Will we, for the sake of windfall profits for BHP Billiton and a handful of jobs, allow the federal and the South Australian state governments to approve the Olympic Dam expansion, and in so doing reap a spiral of cancer and birth defects, the like of which this nation has never known? The choice is ours.